Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so very happy to see you today. Today we are on podcast with Alexander Vakulenko, who happens to be a chess champion, as we call him, and also a person that studies in Germany. So hopefully today he's going to share with us a couple of interesting hints about how to become a chess champion, at least, and how to study in Germany as well. So Sasha, very happy to see you here. How are you? Is everything
Thank you for having me.
is everything okay?
Everything is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm in Germany. No bombs are falling down. So yeah, everything is all right.
We are going to share the explanation why we handle this podcast in English in the end of the interview. As for now, we have plenty of questions. So let's start with that. Sasha, how many years does it take to become a serious chess player? From your experience and from experience from your colleagues. So please.
So from my experience, it's not more about the time you should spend on exactly studying chess, but on your intensivity. So for example, if you play one tournament a year, it will not happen into some result. But if you play every month, maybe 1-2 tournaments, better 3 or more, and studying with your coach, then it could happen pretty fast, even for 1 year. If you're pretty talented, you become a candidate master, even for 1 year.
And
But it's unusual. But for me, for example, for 1 year and a half, I was first as like chess player with the first grade, I would say so. And yeah, after 2 years more, I became candidate master. But as I said, it depends on the intensity.
And what is more important in this education process? Is it more talent, something from nature, or it's really about hard work? So can everybody learn how to play well, or it depends?
I mean, of course, everybody can learn, and yeah, of course, it's better if you have a talent, because it's not more about exactly the speed of studying, as more at first you achieve really good results and they motivate you to move forward. But yeah, of course, if you don't have that much talent, of course, with hard work, you can overcome everything. And to the to the first grade, to the even candidate master, I'm sure that everyone can
come. And how does this chess education work? I mean, how long are the lessons? How often should you study? Should you study always with a teacher? So is it usually online or offline? So how does it work, all of that system?
So before the corona, pretty much every lesson was offline, and it was good because of the community, because you can speak with the teacher directly. But online trainings are also not bad. It's just also a question. Now the tournaments become even more important because you don't have this offline speaking, and you should have at least offline tournaments to understand the game offline, I would say. So it's hard to explain on words. Yeah, so it's pretty much the thing.
And how often does students usually visit those lessons? Is it twice a week, 3 times a week, or it depends? How does it work in the ideal situation?
It always depends. Usually, on my experience, it's 2-3 times a week with a trainer for, I guess, 1 hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. It really depends on a teacher, and yeah, but the more the better, of course. But usually, if you study in one club with only one trainer, then like group trainings will be 2-3 times a week. Of course, personal trainings could be even more than 3 times a week, or they can go simultaneously. So yeah, I guess 2-3 times a week is the most common.
And do you have some study books? Do you have some homework? How does it work? Or you just sit and play with your teacher, and I mean teacher explains some tricks, or how does it work in general?
So every trainer has his own program, but usually at first students are like make a small training, so it's puzzles. Then it comes to the chess games, like I mean analyze to analyze chess games. Or it could be directly to the playing. Sometimes, for example, trainings make it so 1 day a week it's like small puzzle training in first, and then completely play day, I would say so. And sometimes people are playing not so much, but more studying, like techniques, Endspiel, Mittelspiel, openings, so the different parts of the game, different types. So yeah, but anyway, there are 2 parts which I haven't seen that trainers just threw off. It's they start with the puzzles, and then finish with the games. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting. And when did you start your visiting chess lessons? How old were you?
So I was 8.5. It's, I would say, it's too late, but like to become a professional chess player on a really top world level, it's a little bit too late. Okay, but too late.
So what is the ideal age, like 6, 7, or?
Yes, I guess, yeah, between 6 and 7 years old.
And do you know examples when people started, say, at 15, 17 and became very good?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
It's unlikely. It's possible?
No, it's really possible. I mean, just so the chance that you will become a chess champion, world chess champion, it's just a little bit unlikely. There is only one chess champion who was, how old was he? I guess 17 years old first time when he started, and then he became 3 times world champion. But it's more like an exception. But I heard a lot of times when, for example, people started at 16, 17, 18 years old, or even older, and then became a Grossmeisters. So it's really a top level. It's just, I'm talking not about the top one. For top one, it's a little bit too late, but for top 10, for top 50, it's usual thing, I would say so.
By the way, when you started playing chess, did you feel that you have improvement in some technical subjects at school, as mathematics or physics or chemistry, or maybe you can't separate it? Did it improve your thinking skills, and you had some results?
So it's really a little bit hard with mathematics. I would say 100%. With other technical subjects, not that much, because much time with all the subjects you spend on exactly formulas, on reactions or maybe on some rules. So, and it's not about, there are not that much logical thinking. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's only my opinion. But for example, on any other puzzles, tasks on, I don't know, on, so on this, things more like I move, you move. So more quickly without that exact borders like rules or something. So
So it's like
because
sport stuff, yes? You just need to react and that's all.
no, okay, maybe I said it a little bit wrong. So you just start to think more faster, think faster, to think, to make decisions faster. Also, your philosophical visions or something on something are also changing with the time, because you see a lot of a lot of in common between chess and real life, and also, so just I say that chess improve your knowledge and your skills in the things which have not that much rules, where you should not just follow the flow, but you need to think by yourself what you should do, because it's all about this, when everything is not clear, when everything is it's a little bit hard to explain. So where not so much rules, where you should not only just, here is the rule, here you should do, and okay, if you understood the rule, then you do it at least for half a minute. If you didn't, then nothing happens. But in the things where not so much rules, I would say, where the situation is unclear, it's a little bit hard to explain, because there are a lot of situations in life. Maybe I can compare it to the, for example, to the speech, to the business, to the politics, where there are also a lot of rules, but they are not that direct. So you have a variety of other options. So that's what I tried to say.
Okay, yes, well, quite interesting. And have you ever thought of teaching somebody? I mean, does it bring you some satisfaction? I mean, chess, for instance. And have you already had this? You taught.
Yeah, I've already taught some students, not that much, I guess 20, 30 in general. But yeah, it was really great. But during those time, I had to study, and I had a lot of other things to do. It was just, I started to prepare to move to the Germany, and yeah, there was a lot of other things. So it wasn't like a whole job for me. But it was really a little bit funny with all the children, because sometimes they're sometimes a little bit shy, sometimes there are, psychological things, just why I don't do this. So I had lessons with children. So with adults, I don't know. I didn't have an experience. So it was fun. It was really nice. I felt a little bit tired after my lessons, but I guess it's not only about chess, it's in general with teaching.
Hmm. And how much time does it take for a teacher to teach the basics of chess? Is it 1 year or less or more? I mean, so that the person could really play one party from the beginning to the end, yes, and will not violate some rules, will really put the figurines where they should be, etc. And probably will not lose every game. So how much time does it take?
It takes not so long. Also, it depends, really. But on my experience, maybe 3 months
3 months.
with regular trainings. 3 months, half a year, you play from the start to the end, and even not that bad. So, but it really depends. So for me, in my case, I got second grade in the first half of the year. So, and the second grade is pretty good. So not only I understood all the rules, but also I could really win and understand tactics, a little bit strategy. So it was not that bad level. And in general, it takes that long. Yeah.
By the way, why do people put clock on their tables? 2 sets of clocks. Is it because they need to finish faster, or what do they calculate with it? Because I'm not a chess player anyway. But they put a
What do
special
you
clock
mean,
near.
2 sets?
I
Two
mean, two
sets?
clocks. It's not sets. It's like 2 clocks basically, 2 items.
Like you mean a clock with 2 buttons?
Yeah. So something like that.
It's pretty easy. So when it's your, for example, it not always, but on the tournaments, it's always tournaments. We play always with the clock, and so, for example, two players have each of them 15 minutes, and after one player lose their time, then he's automatically lose his game. So why people do this? Just because if you don't have the clock, then the game can like during forever.
But do you like these very long games or not? Because I heard that sometimes people can play one party very long, and maybe it's normal. Do you think it's
Yes,
interesting?
I like every section. So we have Blitz, Rapid, and Classic. So Blitz, the range is between 3 to 10 minutes. Rapid from 10 to 20, 35 minutes, and Classic from 35 and more. So every this specific range has its own interesting ideas. About exactly Classic, yeah, I like it the most because in Classic game people can show their experience, their level of game the best. With Blitz and Rapid, you will nearly never do. Okay, that's wrong, I would say. So sometimes you will do not the best move, but the move with the biggest stability. So you will not lose the game just after your move, because you don't know what happens next. And so maybe the best move is other, but you need to have a time to win the game next, but you will not have it if you only think about like every move the best. So that's the thing. That's why Classic games are better in this perspective, because you can, not every time, but so you can do as often as possible the best move and get the best result from it. And then have a time to realize your position.
If you're trying to see the educational purpose of learning chess, because of course some people are chess champions, some people try to become chess champions, and that's wonderful. But we understand that the majority of parents, when they send the kids there or the kids decide, it's more about development of some skills. Because usually it's about every hobby. 70, 80, 90% people just will finish this chess school and maybe will sometimes play on the weekends with some friends. Yes. And it's, I think, usual route for people. So the question is, what do chess develop more? Is it more about strategic thinking? So, well, you need to calculate everything, yes, because as far as I understand, people play all day because they calculate maybe 20 ways that your partner can go. So you need to predict it in the long way. Or actually, you would say no, maybe it is not only about strategic thinking, but also about tactics and also about some very fast moves. So what are the main skills that you learn from chess? Or maybe some people say that only patience. So my child was impatient, my child couldn't concentrate a lot. After chess, it really improves. So
that's really often the point.
How would you describe it? Imagine that you are owner of a chess club, and well, people, you need to sell the idea of playing chess to parents or to a person.
Yeah. So even when I started to teach children, I made for myself a list why children should start to play chess. But now I can remember a couple of them. So the basics, of course, is short and long-term vision on a problem, on a position, because they are really very different. And so that's two main parts. Then third part is vision for your opponent, because when a player achieve first grade, then he had to to be able to look for the opponent, and so yeah, it means when you achieve some level, you like not more automatically, but you had to be able to do this before.
So you should have the skills.
Either way, you wouldn't achieve it. So it's really very important, because in the life we can see it nearly everywhere, that you should think for another human, because
so it's
otherwise, yes, it's about prediction more. So at least I guess maybe not every, but most of the parents want to have a polite, maybe intelligent, not there is another word in Ukrainian Russian is intelligent. Is it the same, by the way?
Yeah.
So yes, intelligent, and it makes so because people know what other people think, what other people do. Also, it's very usual in business, and pretty much everywhere where you'll go. Then fourth thing, it's about the time, because as you said, there is a clock, and you should approximately understand how much time will you spend on an opening, on a Mittelspiel, and on Endspiel. So on the middle and end of the game. That's really very important. For example, when you schedule your tasks, when you schedule maybe projects, also it's really very important for your life, a very important skill. So I guess that's the main for points.
I know that
Why children should start playing
Mhm.
chess.
I know that people that play computer games and they say that they play it professionally. Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's real, sometimes not. They say we watch a lot of things on YouTube, so in order to learn. So now the question is about the chess. So do you really watch some parties of other people, maybe famous, maybe not? For example, when you are relaxing, I'm not sure, but I'm quite confident that we have a lot of videos on YouTube, for example. So does it make sense to see it, or maybe it's better to see some books, yes, and to check some ways people play it on the paper because it's faster? So how do you see it?
It could be both ways. Yeah, so at first I learned all the games from the books to be more accurate. My trainer showed me the games, books, how the people played before. So it was more old games. But of course, we saw also modern games. It's really very important, especially for the theory. Yeah, so it's pretty much both ways. So, for example, people often want to take a look on, for example, World Championship, where the leaders of chess are showing people new theory, new ideas. Why do they do this or that? But more for a fundamental understanding and comprehension of chess. Uh, People should start to learn from the old games, because uh, in old times there was not that much theory, and people wanted to make their ideas to the end. So it was more like one by one. Because now when the computers came, the game changed. And for example, now there is one plan. After opponents move, we should change the plan. Even we wanted it so much, it's so good, and we should do it, but nevertheless, it's not that good now, and we should change it. And it's sometimes like this, and people cannot see the whole picture. They just see um, like only moves there, but what's the idea? They cannot understand it. It's really hard even for me now sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Interesting. And what country now has maybe the best chess education, if you can say so, the best infrastructure or something like that? Because I understand that, yes, it's like music. I mean, that everything I think is based on the teacher again. So if you have a good teacher, probably you can learn in any country. It's chess is not something too expensive to buy, yes. But the thing is that probably, as far as I can imagine, it's not only about teaching somebody how to do it, but also it's about the organization of some tournaments. Yes, so if the child wants some good emotions connected with that, she or he needs to maybe compete with somebody and compete in good atmosphere. And not only compete, I think it's also about how to say some communication, yes, and socialization with other people. So does Ukraine have good tournaments? As for you, I heard that you had some in Germany, maybe in some other countries, and I'm sure that you have heard some other facts about other countries. Yeah, so but we are speaking not about maybe adult level. I think it's another thing, mostly about this about the youth and maybe children.
Children education, you mean?
Yes, yes. So
Right.
it's chess for children and also for young people, let's say up to 18, maybe up to 21. So
The funny thing is that organization of tournaments are not always the fact that that the studying, especially for children, will be good or is good in exact country. Because, for example, in Germany, I could say that it's pretty one of the top level of organization of the tournament. So here is big prizes, like, yeah, big prizes, and organization is really wonderful, just wonderful. But they have not enough chess schools. They spend not that much time on chess, and yeah, I could say I know only a couple of Grossmeisters from Germany which are playing on the top level. So, but on the other hand, we can look to the Uzbekistan, for example. They have maybe not that good organizational tournaments, but the government sponsors chess, especially for the young ones, and they have a lot of chess clubs, etc. And yeah, I saw some pictures, for example, when the president gave 2 cars for two children like 12 and 14 years old, like for their achievements in chess. If we talk about Ukraine, then I would say it's something in the middle. So we have not bad organization of tournaments, and also we have a lot of chess clubs. So, and it's like really good combination of it. Maybe only one problem that we don't have that much support from the government, but it's not that bad. And to make your like to achieve really good results, it's the really good start. And for example, I know a lot of chess players who started in Ukraine, and then they moved to the USA, because USA said sometimes it's just about regular payments, sometimes it's about, they say like, you know, we have really good universities. If you want to come and study, then you're welcome, because we know that you're a really good player. Just change the federation and you can come. And there are a lot of cases when people just got a free university education just like this. So yes, in Ukraine we have really good web of chess clubs.
By the way, about chess clubs and basically chess education for kids, in Ukraine, is it free now or not? And if you're speaking about plus minus normal level, yes, because probably we can also find some free English lessons somewhere, maybe. I remember when I was small and, well, it was the same time, long time ago and not long time ago, so it depends how to look at it. So 15 years ago, as far as I remember, there were a lot of free or almost free speaking clubs, and not only speaking clubs but also English clubs, but after that they disappeared. I think it's quite hard to find. So it was commercialized, yes, and now we have like a market. Maybe it's normal. We are closer to British and closer to American education system in terms that everything is moving that way, yeah. But still, maybe is it possible to find free chess clubs, or at least cheap chess clubs? Do you think they can have good quality? So it's kind of request for advice, yes, for people, for relatives or for adults that want to send their kids to play chess.
Yes, 100% you can find a free chess club in every city, Ukraine city, but it's not that good level, not always, I would say so. Yes, and you can start, for example, from the free club. The problem with the free clubs that there are big groups, and if you're not that talented, then maybe you cannot move through that smoothly and that quick. And
So
so the
you will need to work a lot
so
of alone. Yes, probably. Yes, you will need to work alone a lot.
yes, so yeah, really, you then will need to work alone sometimes. So private clubs, I find them better because really there are not that big groups, and people can speak with the teacher more directly, and um, it really depends, to be honest. But from what I heard, it's better to find a private club, and yeah, and then start there, because it's just all about the progress, because you can study a lot of time in a free chess club and just got to one level, but on the other hand you can study half of the time in a private club and got two times more experience and the level in the chess game.
Well, that's the question. Will a good teacher of chess, and I think it's not so easy as teaching some
Yes, you're
subjects.
right. You're right. So sometimes in this free clubs, um, government pays for them, but really often there are just old teachers, and they just not that interested um, in how say
And some
uh,
achievements maybe or something
in
like this.
goals. So and students can make a progress, but not that big, and they are not that interested. So private clubs are nearly always interested in really good results, because as you previously mentioned, there is a market and they want to be the best on it. And in this case, they can say, look, we have really good players here, and that's why you should come to us. So they are interested in this thing. That's why I find them better in this perspective.
And maybe the last question before we move to our Germany topic in their education system. The question is quite easy. Did you change actually a lot of times your teacher or not, your mentor, in your chess
Not,
life or not?
uh,
No?
no, not much. I had only 3 teachers, and 2 of them were at first time like my main, and uh, with them I spent the most time. Um, so I haven't changed the club. I have to say that I was a little bit lucky. So I came to a club which was really good for me. I know it was a little bit small, but it was good for me, and I got really good first to my mentors. Yeah. So and in my case, the teacher just came to my school, and there were lessons with him. Like it, it's like different different like parts of the club. I don't know how to call it. Um, so basically, it's just like business model. When teachers are not studying from a club, but they come to the school, rent a room, and then they study. Um, study children there,
Mm.
and it's pretty common. So if you want to study, you can just take a look on the schools which are the closest to you, and just have a look. Maybe there is a chess club in there. It's just, yeah, it works like this really often.
Okay, sounds cool. Okay, so thank you. Now we are moving to the second topic
You're
because,
welcome.
well, we'll divide the interview into two parts, and here the second part begins. It's about your stay in Germany, about the educational system in Germany, because as we know, yes, the listeners may not, but I do. You have moved to Germany. I know that even before the start of the full-scale war with Russia, yes, you had been in Germany plenty of time playing chess, first of all, yes, and visiting those tournaments, etc. But approximately 5 months ago, you moved to Germany, yes. So
Yes.
how was it? I mean, of course, you had already seen that country before you moved, but nevertheless, you went to the school. So your general impressions, are Germans and Ukrainians different, and in what things they are different? Are they different in thinking? So, in very general way, would you explain that?
Yeah. First of all, I need to mention that I was only 3-4 times in Germany, but it was on a really short period of time, so week and a half. But I couldn't see much in there, so it was just like home and tournament, home and tournament. You don't have much time to see some sightseeing, and so yes, I I saw only some parts of the Germany, and I hadn't met a lot of people before I came to Germany. So yes, about mentality of people and are they different? They're really different, and the thing is, it was quite funny. My father was in Germany one time. He worked here half a year. And I remember first time when I said to him that I want to study in Germany and like, I don't know, maybe living here in Germany. He said like, you'd better not do this, like, because his experience, he worked for a German family, and they were nice, but the mentality was really different. And when I came to Germany, I need to say that there is not much Germans anymore in Germany. So, for example, in my class in school, there was 28 children, and only six, I want to emphasize it, of children were original from the German. 6. So the children which parents are Germans. Other they came from different parts of world, from Albania, Poland, Russia, other Lithuania, South Korea, I don't know. So from different part of the world, but not from Germany. It was really quite funny. And so one good thing that you can find exactly people with your mentality as you want here in Germany now. Not that good part that there are like this other mentalities that maybe are not that good for you. So yeah, and it's really like this, because 20 years ago it wasn't that much. So in Germany were a lot of foreign students, but not that much as now. Now it's really big part.
Yes, of course, we have a lot of migrants over there. Yes, in Germany. It could be
And
a
I'm
challenge,
not
of course.
talking about Ukrainians even, because and Ukrainian community, of course, now is really big in Germany. I don't know, I don't remember, I would say the numbers, but how much? 300,000 or
Oh, I
so,
think more. Could be more. Could be
or
more.
more, I guess. Yeah, up to 500,000.
Uh-huh. And what about the school? Because you went to the school as other 100,000 Ukrainian kids went to the school. Yes, so they have well, this experience. I think it's wonderful. It doesn't matter maybe much will they return back or not. My prognosis is that even the war continues, a lot of people will return. Not because they want so much to be under some shelling. Or not because it's becoming safer now. I think it's going to be just because it's not so cheap. Even if you have school, even if you have a place to be there, it's just not cheap. Especially in big cities, yes, because not all people go to small villages in Germany. A lot of people want Frankfurt or Berlin,
Yeah.
and it's the challenge, I think. So my question is, yes, what about the school? How was it? How was the first month? Did you like the atmosphere? What were first differences that you spotted in comparison to Ukrainian school that you visited? Yes, so basically general frame about German schools.
Okay, so my German knowledge wasn't that good. On that point of time, I hadn't studied German for, I guess, half a year, because before I had some plans about America. Then they had changed, but nevertheless, so I really, for example, didn't remember words like cold or hot. So I had some knowledge, but it was like, with some dust, which was needed to be clean. So yeah, in school, it was at first really frustrating, and just like, are they really in the same class as me, not two classes lower, or something like this? Because they have 13th class school system, and but the school system is really close to our. Maybe only a couple of topics are more unfolded, more unfolding there. So yeah, they, for example, I remember first time they played football in a class and something. So it was not only like a little bit inappropriate, but also like childish, really childish.
You mean mental state of people,
Yeah,
basically?
yes, exactly. Mental state. So because they have also, I went to the 10th class, and they had 3 more years. Maybe, and I saw also people from higher classes, and they are similar. They are all really similar. I don't know what's the problem. Maybe they just live to comfort. Who knows? But yeah, but my personal opinion was like this, and it hasn't changed much throughout educational process. And what about exactly school system? It's different. It's similar but different. So anyway, people should relearn all the information. First of all, of course, with German definitions, because German language has different, like basically like every other language, but in German it's much more than in other formal language. They have a really big development in this area because of this official texts, declaration, etc. They needed much more words exactly for some terms. That's the one thing. Second thing that they write, so they, how is it? Just they write everything differently. In mathematics, in chemistry, in physics, it's similar. You can learn it pretty fast, but nevertheless, you have to spend the time on it. Yes, about school, like the educational process in school, it's really, how would I call it? It's not boring, definitely not. For me, it's more interesting than in Ukraine, but it's much longer because it's 13 years. And so the day contains only 6 lessons. 6 lessons a day.
So
and
you are free at 2 o'clock, something like this, or?
no, in 1 o'clock even.
At 1, okay.
At 1 o'clock. So they start at 8 o'clock and finish at approximately 1 p.m.
But what do they do after? I mean, the parents are not at home yet, so.
No, they go to the hobbies, they do the homework, and it's really a little bit funny because they have much less homework than we have in Ukraine, and they have more free time, much more free time.
Do you think it's better?
Yes, it's better, but on the other hand, so you finish your school when you're 20. When you're 20, 21.
But why? You go to school when you're 6 or 7, so you finish school at 18, 19, I think, no?
No, so yeah, we can count, so okay, not like 19, 20, but nevertheless, it's 2 years. So if it's not a big deal, then because I went to my school when I was 6 in Ukraine, and I finished, now I'm 17. So plus 2 years, so I would be exactly 19 years old. It's good when you have like, when it's not a problem for you to spend 2 extra years for school. But the thing is that exactly the information, the amount of information is the same. What I really liked in this school was the teachers, because the teachers in so I was in a provincial place, in a provincial city, and definitely not a main. And the school wasn't like a common school, nothing like fancy, and teachers were really very good, because in Ukraine, it's like I cannot even compare. It's like different level. They know more, they teach better, they really want students to understand the information. I cannot even describe it, because it's just it's better attitude. Um, and if you want to learn, then teacher there were like the best teachers. I am completely satisfied and even more with them. Yeah, so how they explain the process. So for example, at history lessons, there were, for example, some topics. We had debates. We had, so the teacher really explained a theme really long, really good, so everyone can understand it. I guess that's why they need 13 years, because they want to cover every theme really like 100%, like completely at a perfect level. Yes, so teachers are the best part in Germany. And I can say why, because the salary, teacher's salary in Germany starts from 4,000 euros, and usually it's between 6,000-7,000. So it's not a bad salary. For a teacher, we can compare to our Ukrainian salaries, and that's I'm sure that that's one of the things why they are more motivated. Also, I just don't know why, but my personal feeling, much better. Teachers were much better. The school program, like in Ukraine, we have also not bad school program. But in this topic,
I want to find somewhere there's their curriculums. Maybe I will do it. I already have some American standards. I have even printed it just to see what they study. Very interesting. For example, in America, they don't have, they have English literature. I mean, literature in English, not necessarily British, of course, American mostly. But they don't have, for example, something like Ridna Mova. They don't have it. And that's why I think that's the root why a lot of people can't really write without mistakes. And really, if you go to some forums, you see that English-speaking people, for example, from America, they make so much mistakes. They, write in some slang English, etc. I think that's the causes in the education. I know about Germany. I think I have my like understanding of the situation about this naivety, about this childish behavior. I have such theory that they are 3-4 years younger mentally. So, for example, if you are 16, so you need to find the person who will be 20, 21 in order to speak on the same level. My sister, she was in Berlin on some program, I think the previous month, also in Wrocław. Well, with Poland is better. We are speaking here about Western Europe. So yes, she also told that 3-4 years, maybe sometimes 5 years. It depends how parents develop the child, but nevertheless they don't push them. Yes, so they develop really slower, and it's actually good, because sometimes our school, for example, I know your opinion, but I think that they make very big pressure on the student, for example, and what they teach, that it is impossible to cover everything and you should cheat in order to be okay.
Yeah, I agree.
For example, you will just comment just 2 seconds for me. I mean, for example, literature, yes. So what is the idea of the Ministry of the Education and the people that write books over here? That you should be very developed in physics, very developed in algebra, in foreign literature. You should also know Ukrainian language very much. However, of course, a lot of people, well, they know it, but not up to the extent when they can like morphologically understand something, etc. And it's very funny because they say, okay, for this week you need to read, I don't know, this book. For the next week you need to learn some poem. And in 2 lessons there will be some test, some kind of exam. And I think it's crazy. It's impossible to do this. Why maybe we should import this German system when, first of all, we don't have 8-9 lessons, which are impossible to hold. But again, I think that parents in the cities, they don't know where to put these children. That's why we need to have some hobbies and hobbies inside of school. So maybe this will come. I hope I know that in a lot of German schools the homework is minimal, and basically sometimes no homework at all. So what you
Hmm.
could do at the lesson, you basically do at the lesson. So there are lessons about reading, and you should really read. Not like read at home huge book, which is impossible to read. So you will basically just read short version for 1 page. Yes. So I think it's, I don't know. I think it's better. I think it's better, honestly speaking. Also.
If you're asking for my angle of view on this problem, I would say that they are just like right opposite, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. Because in our system, as you said, um, you just basically need or not to take up a book from your hands,
You need to cheat. That's all.
or you need to cheat. There is only two ways, because you physically cannot cover all the information.
And you should also
It's really
rest.
just too hard. Yeah, I can feel it on my skin really good during all these years, because uh, every month I had at least one tournament, and uh, and of course I just came. I need to cover all the information, and then I just drove back to another tournament, and that's like one part to another, and with all these gaps, somehow I got through the year. So I got not bad marks, but nevertheless, it was unproductive. I'm completely sure in it. So, and on the other hand, German system is just too long. It's just too long because, and it's not that intensive. And yeah, in our school system, for example, in Germany, they have only 1 month and a half of holidays, of summer holidays. And in Ukraine, we have 3. Like on one hand, it's good, but on the other, maybe then we should cut it a little bit, but not make 7, 8 lessons a day. Like to make them less, to make our system not that fulfilled with accurate information, but more about I don't know. It's really about practice, experiments, maybe. So with these topics where you should show it exactly how does it work in practice. It also has a problem with all the stuff the schools should have to make, for example, experiments, because in German school on a chemistry and physics, one time out of 2, so literally I guess on half of the lessons we had an experiment. So they showed it how does it work. In Ukraine, you're like, for example, okay, in math I can understand there is anyway plus minus numbers or ideas. You can visualize it, but not that much. But for example, when how people can understand, do they like chemistry or physics or not? Because it's not about only numbers. It's more about how does it work? And we don't have this part. And it's really bad because students, they not, they enjoy not that much just because it's pure numbers. And yeah,
Yes.
so my opinion, the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yes, I mean, I can support, of course, this. I think that the problem is that when we study physics, yes, we just try to solve some hard stuff, but it's very impractical in the way that you will not use it. For example, in the 9th class, yes, students are to study, for example, electricity, how it works, but it's super practical stuff. I mean, it should be super practical stuff, because when you buy a flat, you should understand how
Yes.
the electricity, where it goes, how to calculate it, how do solar panels work? Can they generate some money or they cannot? So it's very business nice questions for real life where you can really benefit from this knowledge. But still, we are not doing that. We are calculating some hard stuff, imagining that we are, controlling nuclear power station or what, because I remember it was super hard. I didn't understand it. So if they cut 50-60% of the program and made it into a usual practical course just for 1 year about electricity, where you could really solve the problems, and maybe some people will get more interested and become even specialists in that. I think maybe one person each year would do that. I think it would be a total victory for this physics year, but it's not working properly.
Like this anecdote when one space traveler went in the past, and some priests caught him and lined up to the cross, and wanted to fire him, and one of the priests was like, hold up for a minute, and he walked to this man and said, okay, as you see, all my colleagues do not believe you that you're from the future, but suppose I believe you. How can you prove that you're from the future? That man like, I don't know. Just, I don't know, ask a question. He said, okay, do you know where Ludwig, when will be end of the Ludwig's hour, or his when will he end the ruling, his rule? So, and he said, no, I don't remember. He said, okay, suppose I understand it's personal date. Okay, what else can you say? Oh, there is, something like electricity, everything works with it, and like telephones, notebooks, and etc. He said, okay, I believe you. Can you make it for us? He said no, and etc. etc. So yes, the moral that we know how to use something, but we don't know how it works. And maybe we should not know how works, maybe how work everything, but at least something.
Yes, I think that, this reform should be there in Ukraine for sure. I don't know about Poland. I think that Poland could be a nice example. I know Finland, Norway, I don't know about Sweden, but I heard that Finnish have amazing results, and they are very close country to Ukraine in history, first of all. And they have this humanistic approach, very nice, very nice. They're very educated people, actually, because when I met Germans, I understood that, well, I met not a lot, but I think more than 50 students and had quite close contact with them. I had a feeling that they are very good actually at knowing how things work. This is a fact, like it's engineering mindset.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was always with the critical thinking. So sometimes it's so funny. So the person is like 20 years old and the person believes the government 100%, or the person believes some crazy stuff. I remember that I thought about that, well, we had a lot of problems with Russia in the past, for example, with the Crimea, etc. And she said,
Mm-hmm.
oh, German government doesn't see that, so we also don't see that. It's absolutely okay. However, she doesn't see the parallels. And she hated Hitler. And I said, like, do you understand that it's basically the same type of behavior? And you should see clear parallels. If you have mind, you see that he was doing that with Czech Republic, after that with Poland, after that with Ukraine, and Soviet Union, and France and other countries, and you don't see the parallels. And she was like, she was so naive, and she was with like clear eyes, and I understood that she even cannot how to say, make these two situations together and see the obvious collision, at least try to see. And she couldn't do it. It means that she hasn't been taught critical thinking. So what I want to ask, in these
Yes.
5 months, did you see that maybe opinion of students are not asked, and it's more about just remembering things but not about creating something new? Or you think that actually you had enough creativity and you were, I mean, satisfied with that levels?
Um, so to be honest, it's hard for me to say. So, for example, they have a subject like ethics, where they have some philosophical issue, and they talk about it, see it from the like from the different perspectives, from different sides. But yeah, I don't know why, but somehow they are really, as you said, naive. And um, I guess it's more about exactly a little bit about just nationality, so just characteristic of nationality. So they just always like by the rules, just like this. Um, yeah, about creativity. To be honest, I saw much more creativity in German school than in ours. But I don't know, maybe just because they have only, I don't know, maybe a vision on a problem or on a life like this. As government said, that will be like this.
That's the
As
truth, basically, yes.
parents said, it will be like this, and I do not even say a word on this thing. Maybe they think like this, but yeah, about creativity, I saw really much, for example, in music, in theater, so in different art, but for some reason they are naive.
Well, it happened during actually Hitler time, yes. So it was very interesting that he actually put them in the very bad situations, and it was obvious he sent them, like he sent millions of people to death, basically. So Hitler destroyed Germany first of all, yes, all Europe, not all, but the majority of Europe was destroyed by him, and mostly actually him. So he had some guys that were his friends, kind of, but we know the generals obeyed everything just because he was the president or like
Mm-hmm.
Führer or something. And it's crazy. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
not about education. It's just the nation. The nation thinks in this way, and that's all. So very
Yeah,
organized.
it's like, yes, one time one woman said to me that if Russia attacked us, then we wouldn't even like
Defend
protect
ourselves. Yeah.
ourselves. Yeah, defend. We'll just like give up immediately, and there will be no 3 days, no, not a week. It would be just one day. So yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, Germany lives in totally different age, and then in their eyes, of course, wars shouldn't exist, because the Second World War for them it was the end of this story. So, in their thinking, at least, in their thinking. When I was in Germany, I mean, I caught the idea that Germany is very different, and it's hard to separate. And it's easy to separate different types of people. And of course, there are some pacifists, yes, but there are also some more realistic people. But about education, it's very
Mhm.
interesting because it's a huge country and it's very influential, because they don't only teach the students that have German passports. Doesn't matter the skin of color, but basically Germans, yes, we can call them at
Mhm.
least so. But they are also educating a lot of people that are not Germans anyway. And I know that people
Mhm.
come from, I don't know, Africa. They don't come to live. They come only for 5 years or 6 years, and they come back or
Mhm.
go to America. But still, they teach them, and it's very interesting, yes, how it works. So thank you so much. Thank you.
So
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, your
they
comment.
yes, their idea is that people will come to study and then stay here because you know about this thing that German population, the level of birth is really low, and that's why they need always new flow of foreign people.
Yes, yes, I agree. But it's not only connected to that, there's also like some kind of regret and some kind of guilt connected to the Second World War. For example, you can see that a lot of
Maybe.
German women that are highly educated, they try to choose guy who is not white, for example. I thought it would be nonsense, but I saw it by myself, and I think it's true. Not only this, also it's very popular to marry among guys. It's very popular to marry a woman, for example, from Thailand or from any kind of Asian countries. Also,
Mhm,
not even Slavic. Yes, somebody from far, far away. And I
mhm,
also know, well, I mean, yes, about recreation is of course also a thing. However, I know that, for example, the infrastructure in Germany for kids is quite good, very good in comparison to other
mhm.
countries. I mean, the kindergartens are amazing, basically. And
Yeah, about environment, it's just wonderful.
Yeah. So, well, some people say that's the decline of some traditional Christian values. Yes, because, for example, in the 60s, when Germany was booming after the war, it's very strange, but only 20 years after the war, West Germany was one of the best economies. So they had approximately 3 kids. Yes, but it was a standard. Now it's not. But we will see. Hopefully, it will change. So thank you so much for the interview. That's 18:18 in
Thank,
Kiev time. You can make a wish according to Kiev time. So
thank
thank
you
you so
so
much.
much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. We'll make a timelines and we'll post it. Maybe somebody will write some comments and we will see how it goes. So thank you so much for your experience and see you someday. Bye bye.
Goodbye. Thank you so much.